This might be our most difficult rankings we have ever done because it's boss battles and Dylan picked really good boss battles. So, welcome to another episode of Talk Punch. Thank you so much to both our audio podcast and our YouTube viewers for joining us. I am Brody, joined by Tudong Dylan.
Hey.
And the Spock of this enterprise, Charlie Hickman. It's because you're the smart one, Charlie. You're very logical.
I would take that as a compliment, but I have no feelings on the subject.
Well, if you haven't already, we'd love it if you subscribe so that way you can come back here every Wednesday to hang out with us and have some fun. And while I'm on the topic of plugging things, check out our Patreon as well, because that's new. We have one. And you can go and you can help us out. All right, so we are doing our rankings, our patented rankings. So what we did is Dylan gathered up 10 boss fights. Now you may say, what the heck is a boss fight? This isn't a video game podcast. No, you're right. It's not. Unless we talk video games, which we have before in the past, but not too often. No, a boss fight. Well, you got the whole movie building up to the big boss bad guy at the end, and the team or the good guy or good girl or whatever, the antagonist and protagonist at the end have to come and battle it out. So Dylan got 10 really good ones. He sent this list and I was like, I don't know how we're going to rank these. It's going to be very difficult. I don't know that we're going to agree on all of these, but we have to because that was in the contract. So we have to agree. There has to be a ranking. All right, let's go ahead.
We'll get to a consent. We'll get to a consensus.
We will.
Man, yeah, these are going to be some razor thin margins here. So,
yeah, there's not like a bad fight. And so even the number 10 will still be a good boss battle.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and go through these for our audio listeners since they can't see the pictures. We have Avengers versus Thanos. Now, this is specifically the fight on Titan from Infinity War.
Yes.
Next, we have the Duel of the Fates. So Qui-Gon Jinn and Anakin versus Darth Maul. We have Ripley versus the alien.
It was actually Obi-Wan, not Anakin.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. Anakin was just a little kid who was flying a spaceship away. Huh? I'll just change that right there. Nope. Not Obi. There we go. Look.
Obi.
All better. Okay.
Beautiful.
Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul. From episode 1.
Episode 1.
Ripley versus the Alien Queen in Aliens. We have Bruce Lee versus Chuck Norris in Way of the Dragon.
Way of the Dragon. Very good, bro. Very good. Excellent.
We have the Ghostbusters versus Gozer. And we can throw in the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man for the ending of the original Ghostbusters. We have Scott Pilgrim versus Gideon, that final boyfriend from Scott Pilgrim versus the World. We have the T-800 versus the T-1000 from Terminator 2 Judgment Day. We have Rocky versus Ivan Drago from Rocky 4. Neo versus Agent Smith from the original Matrix. And we have Dutch versus the Predator from the original Predator. These are going to be tough. I actually had to go in and do my own rankings of these just so that I would have an idea of kind of where I'm hoping they would be placed. Because I was like, this is going to be too hard. It's going to be too hard to try to do this on the fly. I can't do it.
Well, I think this kind of, leads us into the question of how are we scientifically what's the scientific process here? Are we weighing coolness, choreography, the stakes, the outcome, the length, like what the girth? What are we? How are we measuring these battles?
I think some of these are going to, I mean, all of these are good fight scenes. All of these are great battles. So it's going to come down to a lot of subjectiveness with a lot of these things. What kind of styles are we looking for? Maybe even what kind of outcomes. But I think this is like you guys said, razor thin with all of these. So we're gonna have to do nice deep cuts with these
For
because some
me,
of these are really fantastic.
oh yeah. For me, when I did my own list, I went off of primarily coolness, right? Like it's not
Mm-hmm.
super short, it's not super one-sided. Uh, there's a lot of back and forth, there's a lot of drama to it. It's
Right.
fun to watch. It gets you
Mm-hmm.
excited as you're watching it. I went back and watched a couple of these just to kind of refresh, and I was like, yeah, oh, that was a good one. So
Well,
there we go.
let's
That
shuffle
that's
them
how
up
I
and
do it.
let's get into this.
All right, so
Yeah.
now we're gonna shuffle, 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 and there it is. Look at that shuffling. Okay, so if you haven't seen one of these before, we shuffle all those up. They put them in a pile. They're gonna come out one at a time. We're gonna drop them into slots. Just because it drops into a slot doesn't mean it's locked there. It may move. It will probably move. Most of the time,
Mhm.
things move. So we'll talk about it, and then we'll just go through this whole deck until we come to a consensus. All right. So first
And
up, we
there will be spoilers, by the way, just as we
Oh
talk about.
yes. Yeah,
There will be spoilers.
these are end of the movie battles. So if there's something you haven't seen that you're like, I really want to see this movie that came out in 1988, uh,
Just
maybe go
haven't gotten around
watch
to it yet.
maybe go watch that movie before you do this. Or
Pause now. Go watch Rocky 1, 2, 3, and 4, and
yep,
then come back here and vibe
and
check.
then you can hear us talk about it. All right, so first up we have Rocky versus Ivan Drago.
Now, for me, this is going to be really high up there for a couple of reasons. Not for realism. In fact, realism probably isn't going to have a lot of anything I'm going to have to say with this.
It's got no business being on this list. Get it out of
No
here.
business,
Realism.
no business at all. And starting with this particular list, because if Drago hits as hard as like the thing averages, then Rocky should have been dead way probably before he even got in the ring. That's how hard Drago was hitting. This fight would be in the top 5 for me for several reasons. For one,
Oh.
this is an obvious like a David and Goliath right here. But I mean, Rocky is still completely huge when you see him next to Drago. When he slams his fist down after "I must break you," you hear it and you see Stallone like he's he gets his hands get hit down like Apollo couldn't hit Drago's. Either way, this one for me, it has grit, it has determination, and it has parts that are just unbelievable for me. Even dialogue at the end when they sit there and Rocky finally hits Drago and they're like he's cut, he's cut. He's like, you see, he's not a machine, he's a man. Like it just gets the blood pumping. You're like, yeah, do it. And at the end, when he's just like he's going into his last round, and Duke is saying to him, you hit him until you punch until you can't punch anymore. This is your whole life. I'm like, oh. And then when he is doing it, he's punching and he's punching, and you know he's gonna drop him. And then Adrian comes in with, "You're gonna do it." It gets me every single time. Easily top. I could put this in like the top 3, as a matter of fact, because it has all of that stuff. It has the complete theatrical experience. I absolutely love it. Top
I
3
think
for me.
those are all great points, and on my list
Uh-oh.
came in as number 8.
Number 8. 8. How did it come in at 8?
Because you gave me an amazing list to work through, and there's ones that I just like better.
I'll settle. I'll settle for 5. Charlie, what do you think?
Would it change your mind, Brody, if I told you that in the 1980s they did a thought experiment about what would have happened if Rocky had lost to Ivan Drago, and then through that thought experiment, that's how the script for Red Dawn was written, where Russia then invades the United States,
Okay.
and then the Wolverines have to save, and it's only Patrick Swayze and a band of misfits
Hmm?
that are able to stop the
Chris
Russian
Hemsworth.
invasion. Simply, you're thinking of the wrong decade, wrong version of that.
It's worth.
So if not only are the stakes that poor Apollo Creed has passed away in the ring facing Ivan Drago, but the
Sure.
entire Cold War is resting in the fists of Rocky Balboa. And with every punch he lands, we're one step closer to peace. If we can get along,
I can
anyone can get
change. You
along.
can change.
Freaking change, Brody. People, tears streaming down your face. This is the only boss battle here that you cried at the end, Brody. Admit it.
True.
Probably. Maybe.
So
Charlie, where would you put it?
Histrionics aside, uh, it's an incredibly well choreographed fight. It's 15 minutes. It is like undeniably the climax that the whole movie is building towards.
Yeah.
We get to see our hero in high degrees of peril. We get to see the overcoming of and triumph of our hero, and it is the most emotional, I think, of the victories that are on the list. You could argue it's lower stakes because it's not like a war, or they're not battling like a god, or something like that. They're not in some kind of matrixy universe. But like, just when I think of boss battle on this list, I feel like this hits like a top 5 for me.
Okay.
If we want to put it at 6 as a compromise between 5 and 8, like why don't we start it there and just see if you can talk us
Well,
down, bro?
no,
I thought I was compromising at 5 because I would have put it at 3.
you both said top 5. So
Yeah.
I'm okay dropping it at 5 for now.
Yeah,
Okay.
for now. You
For
might not
now.
like some of my answers and some of these other ones. I love you, Brody.
Okay, next up we have Dutch versus the Predator.
Now, with this one, it's a little bit different because you gotta include when he has his traps set up. He is shooting bows and arrows with bombs on him. He's throwing spears. He's got traps laid out.
Covered
And
in mud.
finally, when all of this is done, finally, he can't go any possible where else. The Predator takes off his armor and he's like, now we're gonna throw down. And he beats the snot out of Dutch right here.
He does.
He probably would have punched his face clean off of his head, just his face. No more face for him, just a skeletal face. And really kind of just wins from crawling away and outsmarting him with a trap. Now this one, although exceedingly cool, it's not exactly. This is an exceedingly one-sided fight.
Yeah,
Even with all the
this
bombs.
isn't and this is gonna break your poor little Predator loving heart, bro. But yeah, this is probably a bottom fiver for me as well. And it's not, and look, it's super cool, but
Super
this
cool.
is
It's
kind of
super
like
cool.
if like Rocky had just been beaten to a pulp the entire battle, and then at the end like Drago lands like a low blow or something and gets disqualified, and Rocky's just lying over there, blood dripping out of every orifice. He's crawled to the corner, and Drago's just like perfectly fine, and they're like, "No, you actually lost. This is our winner over here. This is our champion." It would have been like, "Wow, that's what a letdown." I mean, freaking Danny Glover takes out a Predator, and he doesn't have to do nearly as much work in the next movie.
That's very
I do love this. I do love this battle. So those were just my initial thoughts. But bro, talk us out. Talk us out of our insanity.
Well, for me, this came in at number 5. So
okay.
Number 5 is currently occupied, though. The one spot that this one was supposed to fall into. So it could go to 6, I guess.
Okay. All right. We can put it there for now.
For now,
Maybe it goes up.
You have any pushback on what we were saying, bro? Come on, talk it up.
No, it is a good fight. It is more one-sided. Like, right, Arnold sets all these traps, and Predator pretty much just like sees through all of them.
Yeah.
He's got the bow and arrow. He's got like there's all this cool stuff, but it is more one-sided. And so
it's kind of like if Home Alone had like regular people as burglars instead of idiots.
Yeah, right.
And they're like, "Oh, the door's hot. I'll just let go."
Okay, next up we have the Avengers versus Thanos.
Now, I've got to say, this is probably one of my favorite, like I don't want to say moments, but my favorite scene or what have you in all of the MCU. I was waiting for this for the entire time. I'm like, let him get on the Titan, let him fight Thanos. I loved how they started in there. And I mean, like I said, this would be another top 5 for me. fantastic. It's great how Thanos continually tries to just shoot Iron Man, Tony Stark, out of the way. Every single time he runs into him, he tries shooting him off someplace, getting him out. Wants nothing to do with them, and he doesn't even actually start attacking people. If you notice, everybody is attacking him. He almost kind of stands there and he responds to it, and he responds really well. They get him in the very beginning. They get him, and it was just through stupidity and complete ridiculous emotions and the exact thing that that same person said not to do in an earlier scene, he completely lost it, and then they had to really fight. All of those other people got just beaten down until it was Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, and then of course it was just Iron Man. An unbelievable fight for the entire MCU. This is a fight for the ages. I absolutely love it. This is, like I said, this is another top 3 for me.
Yeah, this is a great
Brody.
fight, and I think it's really nice because all the different Avengers that are there, you get to kind of see them all
Mhm.
shine in one way or another. You have,
Yeah.
Doctor Strange with, the various Stranges and the bands and the
Yeah.
teleports, and you have Spider-Man and Iron Man doing their things. It does end on kind of a bummer note, but
Kind of a bummer note.
It's an
well,
exceedingly
they
bummer
couldn't
note.
win this fight. It wouldn't have made sense for the movie. They couldn't win. They had to lose this fight.
That's right. It completely made sense. It made lots of sense. Yeah.
I mean,
I
as a
know this
storytelling, sure, but I mean,
drives Charlie nuts. This fight.
it is look all yeah, a lot. Look, so you're gonna hear me compare. We're gonna flip every ending of every battle that we do here to a loss, just to see how it makes us feel. So not only does Predator destroy Dutch, but then he goes off and he blows up city after city after city after city, killing half of the world's population with Predator bombs, and then the credits roll. Do you feel the same? Would you have the Predator fight at 6 still, or would you be like, wow, that was kind of a bummer? If Rocky just lost and just got his face pummeled and KO'd at the end, and they just ended, he's like, I have broken him, yeah, and his fists up in the air, would we still have this at 5 or higher, or would we be like, wow, that was a big
It
letdown?
would still
The
be a
the
good fight.
choreography was amazing.
If
Seeing the heroes was amazing. The way that they lost is incredibly infuriating, and then half of the population of the world is blipped and disintegrates in front of our eyes. What a horrible letdown. If you're telling me I got to cut my emotions off right at the just stick to the battle script, then we can put this top 3 or 4, but if we're considering the totality of the events, this is like 10 for me.
what?
The world dies, man. They all die.
Only half of the
And
universe.
And
Only
you could
half.
say they fixed it, but they didn't. The rest of the MCU is basically like dealing with the fallout of how
I
awful this
know.
was, all because of one person's immature emotional instability. Like he
Very true.
ruined
Very true.
billions and billions of people's lives. Oh man, I could go on, but look, it's a really cool fight. If you guys veto me as just being a lunatic and put this at number 1, that's fine. I get it. It's amazingly cool, but it just ends on such a decided downbeat. I mean, and we see how
Now,
it plays out. Not great.
but now, just to throw it out there, a lot of people say, and I toyed with the idea of putting, instead of Rocky versus Drago, I almost put Rocky versus Apollo in the first Rocky, where he in fact does lose. I mean, thematically, I will say this: you're right. It totally ends on a bummer note, and it sucks. Horrible repercussions for everyone. But in some ways, I mean, I would have thought that that would have actually made you happy, because if it just kind of wrapped up in a nice bow in the end, you would have been like, "Oh, well, look at all these heroes, and they just took out the one guy." But instead, it gives you stakes. It's Empire Strikes Back right here. Where
Sure. And, but so because what you're describing is story, and it absolutely makes sense for the story. And what we're doing
well,
here is isolating boss battles. And
okay,
when I
well, in
fight a
that
boss
case, I
battle,
mean, this is
I
a
want to win.
really good fight. They don't win, which I think, I mean, uh, I mean, like, you're right. It doesn't end, like I said, on a happy note. But the fight in itself, you see all of them as they're doing it. I mean, the
It's
fight
great.
is
It's
cool,
great.
and it makes
Undeniably great.
and the story makes sense that they should lose. But
Makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense that they lose.
I
Cannot
think
argue.
that
I'm not arguing with anything that you're saying. It's just a bummer. We're isolating boss battles. We're not talking about how great the script was or how good the movie was. Fantastic movie, great
I mean,
storytelling,
it's true. It's true. They lose for a very stupid reason, and it is one idiot's
infuriatingly stupid reason.
insecurity. It
Oof.
completely is. I understand that at 100%. Brode, what do you think?
Well, I really like the fight. It's visually fun to watch. It's fun to see the
Yeah,
Avengers.
just put it in the top. Put it in the top 3. Get it over with.
But
I've said my
Charlie,
piece.
Brode. Put it
Get
to
it out of
three
as
here.
for
you're
now. Put it
as
to
you're
three
saying
for
that,
now.
I'm looking at the list, and this is the one boss battle that we have where the protagonist loses and the antagonist wins. So I don't know. I have this as number 3 on my list, but I don't know. Maybe it is lower. I mean, because I had wondered, I said, "Oh, I wonder why Dylan put this as opposed to like the end battle of Endgame or something like that."
It's
I
a
didn't
great
like that
fight
fight
scene.
nearly
It
as
is a
much.
really good
This
fight
is
scene.
it's really good.
This is
The
a
whole fight
really
is
good fight
really,
scene.
really good.
I'll be very honest with you, okay? I hated how I thought, oh, maybe I will put the end fight in Endgame, but you know what? They say that the Scarlet Witch could have just done him in right there, but guess what? She didn't. You've got Captain Marvel, who could have taken all of the Infinity Stones and the Gauntlet and snapped his neck, but guess what? She didn't. They gave it to Tony Stark to just to snap his fingers, and they could still be there. I don't understand why he didn't blast them to pieces instead of actually snapping them away. I'm like, that means they can still come back. All of these things don't make a lot of sense,
All
but
right. Well,
I
we're
mean,
getting off topic though. We're getting off topic.
right.
So
Okay, how about this? I just don't
we're
want it to be number 1. Anywhere in the top 4 is fine for me. I
Let's
just
start it at
not
four.
my number 1 because they don't
4.
win.
We'll
All
start
right.
it at four.
All right. Let's start it at 4. All right. Next up, we have the T800 versus the T1000 from Terminator 2
Now, it's
Judgment
very,
Day.
very debatable that the T800 wins this fight. In fact, I don't exactly see how you could. I mean,
He
I
was
guess he
messed
shoots
up
the
after
grenade at
this
him.
fight.
Huh?
The
He shoots the
T800
grenade at him.
was messed up after this fight.
He was just about destroyed, and the T1000 was pretty okay until, of course, the T800 shot him with a grenade, and he basically fell into lava. So, I mean, technically speaking, you could say the killing blow
Oh,
was from the
is
T800,
lava.
but the T800 got very smashed up. I'm shocked he wasn't destroyed. His thing went offline and somehow it came back. I don't know how. It didn't say alternate power source or any of those kinds of things, but he punches it right in the face, and the thing just remolds right around it and just slams him all over the place, smashing and smashing and smashing. But jeez, what a cool fight it still was. It still was really cool. After he got his arm caught in the machinery, he still was like reaching after him, like, get back over here. Of course, it didn't work because he's stuck in the machinery, but really, really cool fight. Pretty one sided, though. This is
Yeah.
probably even almost more one-sided because Schwarzenegger didn't get messed up by the Predator, not nearly as much as he did by the T1000. You're telling me Dutch got his arm ripped off by the Predator? No, it didn't quite happen. So this is probably even more one-sided, and he wins by a technicality, if that's what
Yeah.
you'd like to call it. The T1000 was like, yeah, you're done. I'm done with you. You aren't even a threat.
So
But he does land
I
that
have a
killing
question
blow.
about this. I have a question about this. So we have T800 versus T1000. So are we not factoring in Sarah Connor's contributions to this boss battle?
What contributions does she have? He
She had
grabs
the
her,
whole
tells her to
shotgun
scream. She
moment.
says no. That's
No,
pretty much it.
she had that whole shotgun moment where she's and then and then and she kept going. And had she had one more shot, that T1000 would have been in the molten metal.
That's
But
speculating there
it
because what blew him into it was a grenade launcher. Now, if it was another shotgun blast, I would agree with you on that last point. But yeah, she probably needed several other blasts to shoot him in. if it wasn't a grenade, because it took a
I'm just saying
grenade.
she contributed to that because he was
That's fine.
already like had holes in him.
Hey, Star-Lord contributed when they almost got the the Infinity Gauntlet off of Thanos. So he contributed and then screwed everything up. So
And we
yeah,
listed
add
Avengers.
that in.
We have Avengers
Throw that in.
versus Thanos. Right here we just have T800. So I just want to see if we're
I
if we're
think I think
counting
we
Sarah
can
Connor.
consider her contributions, and then
Mhm.
Dylan can ignore her contributions.
She was
Oh,
really trying.
But yeah,
She
this
did
this
get him right to
I'm
the end.
with you, D. This is but man, like this movie suffers is the wrong word. Fantastic movie, but
Yeah,
how
I
do you
love this movie.
defeat a boss when you make him so undefeatable throughout the whole movie? You
yeah.
know, and with that moment where Schwarzenegger lands the punch and then his like grows like a second head out of the
Yeah.
side. I mean, it's just like, all right, well, at that point you just throw yourself in the lava and you just give up. It's all right.
You just throw yourself in. That's right. He
This
starts
is game
shooting with the
over.
gun and he just smacks the gun right away. He's like, "Just get this thing off of here. It tickles a bit." This would be in
Yeah.
the lower 5 for me.
Oh, oh,
This was an
oh,
emotional end to the movie, but I'm not considering that as part of the boss
Right.
battle. So yeah, this is a bottom tier for me.
oh, I had this at number 4.
Oh, Brode, I'm so
Wait.
sorry.
There's so much to this. There's
There's a lot
Arnold
of
versus
layers.
the T1000. There's them fighting. There's Arnold's the T800 like dying because the T1000 like stabs him and then he comes back just enough to like ride the cog up. Oh man, there's so much to this.
So it really seems like for some reason that there was a lot of luck on their side, even more luck than Thanos just being nice enough not to kill everybody, to just keep his word. There's a
Okay,
lot to it, but it was an exceedingly one-sided fight,
okay,
very one-sided. And one could
here's
say that he won. The win, they killed the T1000 with lots of teamwork and luck, and neither was intentional.
okay, here's my question. Above or below Predator?
Probably below because it was even more one-sided.
All right.
Like I
I
said,
wouldn't
the
I
Predator
wouldn't mind
didn't
slipping
rip
this
off.
above Predator.
Huh? You put it
I
above
wouldn't
Predator?
mind slipping this above Predator. Um,
I would put this above Predator.
Okay, all right. Well, why don't
it's
we?
just
Well,
it's if nothing else, it's lengthier. And I tell you, there was something that happened to my little brain watching those shotgun blasts like blow holes in his head and then like the reforming. Man, that was cool. I was
that
like
was
so like I'm not gonna be able to explain to my children like how cool that was at the time of my life when I saw that.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
Dad, this is boring. What are you talking about? And I'm like, no, you don't understand.
No, you
Let me
don't
show
get
you
it.
another movie from the same year and how it looks compared to this.
yeah. That's very true.
All right. Next up, we have the Ghostbusters versus Gozer and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Gozer.
Nice. Aim for the flat top.
All right.
You
Bro, where do you have this one, bro, on your personal list?
On my personal list, I have this at number 9.
really?
Yeah. So for me with this one, there's not a
Now,
whole
just
lot that happens.
it's true.
We
There's
get
not a whole lot.
we get Gozer. They try to shoot at Gozer.
She
They
shoots them and blasts them almost off the entire building,
and then
and
there's
then
the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and they just zap the Stay
they
Puft
blast
Marshmallow Man.
him. They blast. They get him very angry. They make him a toasted marshmallow, and then they cross the streams.
And
Now,
you
I
know,
love my boys.
I get like
I
it.
love it.
Just because it's at number 9 doesn't mean it's bad. It's just I think that there's on this list there's better ones. But this
Yeah,
is still like great. This was a great finale to this movie. It just fell lower on
fantastic.
me. So I'm really curious where this would be for you guys.
Yeah, it would be
Yeah,
lower. It'd be 9 or 10 for me also.
yeah, agreed. Yeah, and look, I mean, it's this is a different movie than every
Right.
other movie on this list.
Yeah.
So for it to even have like a boss battle worth talking about is pretty impressive,
Yes.
considering the comedic nature of the film. It was a wonderful movie, great ending, perfect for the film. No shame in it being at the bottom. So yeah, 9 or 10 for me as well.
Okay, let's go 9. All right, next up
I'm curious what your 10 is, Brody. I'm really curious.
Two.
we
I've
have
got a hunch, but I don't know.
Bruce Lee versus Chuck Norris in Way of the
Mhm.
Dragon. Now, Dylan,
Kong
this is
Lung
this
is
is right
Is
in
this
your
your 10?
bag. Dylan, this is
Is
right
this
in
your
your
10,
bag.
Brody?
Let Dylan talk.
This is your 10.
like
Okay. Trying to guess.
you've got right here a mixture of styles. This is the first movie, and I think the only movie Bruce Lee directed. And hey, a lot of the fights in this are really spectacular. Bruce Lee's choreography, as far as I am concerned, is completely unbelievable. I love it to absolute pieces. The way that he does it is phenomenal. The way that he has I mean, this fight tells a story, and these guys don't say a word to each other. They both are excellent fighters. I mean, you've got Chuck Norris in his prime, Bruce Lee in his prime. They are fast, they are furious, even with respect and all that kind of stuff. They even like warm up in the very beginning. From the entire thing, from them facing off to each other to them warming up, and then even in the end when Bruce is, I mean, obviously, spoiler alert, Bruce Lee is not, he doesn't lose, as he shouldn't have. Nobody would have believed that. But I mean, it is everybody else that he fights in this movie and in many others, he is just completely untouchable. But with this, it was an actual fight, and it was a believable fight. I mean, you see how they're going at it, and Chuck Norris really seems like he could hold his own. I mean, at least in the movie and the choreography. The martial arts that they use, their styles are very different, and I mean, I mean, it must be like a 15 or so minute fight, and it is
Yeah. It's lengthy.
excellent. It is like this is how you do an actual fight scene right here, and the entire thing. And of course, Bruce Lee wins. He doesn't even want to like win. He has pummeled Chuck Norris, and you think he is like he even looks at him like, nope, that's enough. And Chuck Norris even smiles at him like, nope, that's not enough. I don't care what happens. I'm gonna kill you no matter what. And Bruce forces Bruce Lee to kill him, and he's upset by it. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. I mean, top 3 for me by far.
After Bruce Lee broke his arm and his leg and he could barely stand.
Yeah.
So this is top 3 for you, Tudong.
Yeah.
Just say it, Brody. Say it.
Yeah, it's my number 10.
How is this number 10?
Because I watched it today, man. It's so weird. Why does it keep cutting to a cat? Why is a cat watching? Why is a cat playing with a rock in the middle of a fight? And why does it keep going to the cat? And the cat's going like this. And there's weird sound effects through the whole fight. There's like bings and bongs and like bing and bong. And then at one point, Bruce Lee just grabs poor Chuck Norris's chest hair and rips it out. And then goes like this in the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. He goes, it's so gross. As somebody that has chest hair, that's horrible. It's horrible.
He had back
The
hair.
martial
That's
arts
how
were
much of a man
great.
he was back in the 70s. Chuck Norris had chest hair, back hair. He had every hair.
The martial arts is great, but compared to everything, and granted, this is way older than everything else on the list by
Just as easily.
a fair amount.
I thought about going older, but I thought I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that to you guys.
But I'm watching it and I'm like, oh, these sound effects and the crash zooms on like, why does it zoom in on the cat and then zoom in on Chuck Norris and zoom in on the cat again and zoom in on Bruce Lee's face? Like, there's so many zooms, weird zooms that were very much, I guess, 1972. Maybe that was the thing more back then. But I don't know. Yeah, I was like, okay, well, at least I know my number 10. I'm sorry, Tudong. It's so weird. Go watch it. Folks, go watch it. It's a great martial arts fight, but man, is it weird. And it's funny that you talk about Bruce Lee's directing, because I'm like, oh, that was Bruce Lee that really liked that cat for some reason.
He loved that cat. Yeah. Love that little kitten. It was so cute, that little kitten. He was actually
cute.
trying, and he didn't obviously achieve it, but he was trying to do like he was a lot of like, I don't know. He was trying to make it seem like a cat can kind of change how it fights or something along those lines. And Bruce Lee kind of he switches styles a little bit. I don't know. It didn't work out. He attempted it. He swung from the fences, and he didn't achieve it. But hey, like I think small price to pay for this martial arts showdown. Charlie, what do you think?
Oh, Charlie, we lost your audio. Did you mute yourself somehow? Oh, all right. Let's see. All right, we've got it figured out. All right, Charlie, what are your thoughts on this fight?
I think Bruce Lee is exceptional, and I
He
think Chuck
is.
Norris is fine. Uh, I I think if you I think if you as you watch it unfold, there's never really a moment where you feel like, uh-oh, Bruce is gonna lose this fight. There's no like you can drop in from any year, any era, at any time, and you see those two squaring off, and there's no part of you that unless Chuck Norris wrote the movie and he's the star, like Mel Gibson fighting Jet Li or something, and it's like, all right, no, I'm gonna win this. I'm gonna win this one. Don't worry, guys. I got this one in the bag.
Like
Uh,
Vin Diesel beating The Rock in Fast Five.
yeah,
Preposterous.
yeah.
Like, you are kidding me. I should have put that on there, but he wasn't the big bad boss.
I'm higher on this one than Brody, but I understand the sentiment. There are some weird things. It's an epic battle, and Bruce Lee is phenomenal, and it's awesome to have Bruce Lee on this list. Um, we don't have a lot of like this on one hand to hand on the list. I think maybe just this
Predator.
and the Rocky. I mean, that's not hand to hand. It's like crossbows, grenades, explosives. Like
Oh, in the
a
end, it
nuclear
was hand to
bomb
hand.
goes off.
He only wins, bro, because of his trap falls on the
Like
Predator.
a
Otherwise,
freaking
he
nuke.
wouldn't have
A
won at
freaking
all. If there
nuke
was
goes
no
off at
trap,
the end. He survives a nuke. Um,
yeah, he survived. Yeah, exactly.
but like as far as like hand to hand back and forth, so it's nice to have this on the list. I'm comfortable with it really anywhere, but it probably would be in my bottom five. Sorry, Dylan.
Okay, so with that, if do we drop it at number 8 then?
You're breaking Dylan's heart. I feel like we should put it
Okay,
higher for Dylan.
Dylan, where would you like this? I know that you said number 1 or 2, but if we're looking
I
at the
didn't actually
bottom
say that. I
5,
said top three, but why don't we put it at least 6 and then
because
move the rest down? I'm fine with Ghostbusters being 10.
you want this more than Terminator 2?
Yeah, I think that there was a lot more like martial arts skill and choreography to this, as opposed to a lot of the science like fiction effects that
Effects were
really
so
made the
good
fight
though.
one-sided. It was a actually well choreographed fight,
It
whereas like
was.
the other one,
So much random cat.
so much random cat. You know, there's nothing wrong with random cats, especially little kittens. They're so cute.
They are cute, but in
Bruce
the middle of
Leroy
a martial arts fight, it's weird. All right,
always
moving
down
on.
for a little kitten.
Hey, speaking of martial arts fights, I did forget about the Scott Pilgrim.
Scott Pilgrim versus the final ex-boyfriend Gideon. I
Mhm.
rewatched this one too. Boy, this one is a video game.
Yeah.
Like literally
I
a
was
video game.
very surprised. This movie shocked me not just by how good it was, but the choreography. I watched The Expendables the same they came out in the same weekend. I watched The Expendables and I was like, there's not a lot of choreography with this, except I guess for Jet Li versus Dolph Lundgren. But when I saw this, I was shocked. I was like, these guys really put a lot of time in for all of the fight scenes. But I mean, this big boss battle, and then you get knives, and then you also have Ramona coming in to kind of help him out. You have several times because he actually loses a life, and he already had an extra one, luckily. Absolutely fantastic.
Now, if I gotta say, so this wound up as number 6 for me. So below Predator. And watching this, there is a lot going on. I mean, with all the special effects, with all the graphical overlays and stuff like that, it's a lot to take in sometimes. There's some moments where I was like, I don't know what's happening because there's so many things happening. I still really liked it. I'm not saying it's bad, but if I have to put a negative on it, it would be that there's a lot going on.
Well, one could argue that in video games, a lot's going on. Very busy work, bro. Video games are not like simple, easy stuff. They're complex.
Well, Brody's never played a video game before, so he doesn't.
It's true.
This is like the most quintessential boss battle on the list. It's like, like
That's actually
the
really true. That is really
This is like it like gives like the graphic for like the final boss and everything. I love this movie, and so that's gonna color my opinion of it completely. I just absolutely adore this film. I love they put not just the effort into the choreography, but also the musicians and the way that they play the instruments, which really kind of speaks to my heart. And I love the mix of like the music and the energy and the overlays and the graphics. I love all that busy stuff in this fight scene. It really works for me. But also maybe I just have ADHD, and so all the sparkly things make my heart happy.
true.
Uh, I get it's not for those of you who might suffer from like the strobe like the strokes. I don't know.
Strokes, yeah. If
Like
you get
epilepsy.
or
Seizures,
You have
seizures,
if you
that's
have
the word,
epilepsy.
seizures.
seizures, strokes, vertigo.
Absolutely, not
Strokes.
not to be confused with the band The Strokes. That's what I was talking about, the band The Strokes. Um, so
Or
this
different
was
strokes.
this probably be top 5 for me, but, like, I can absolutely understand that that is, like, my heart speaking and not necessarily grading it on the same curve that I've probably graded other movies on this. But man,
But
do I just
now, if you really
adore
think about it, you've got the fantastic choreography. You have the fact that it is exceedingly video game esque, that it is a big, like, end final boss
it
battle.
is.
That's
It's
true.
got all those bells and whistles. It has, yeah, like, his people coming in. He loses, but he comes back
Mhm.
and fights again. And this time's like with swords. That actually, from as far as I'm concerned, that actually makes it get better, because you even see him lose, and then he gets to come back like a video game style and beat the
Yeah.
big boss. For me, like I said, this would be one of my top three,
Oh, alright,
especially
love it.
since my other top three are not there.
Alright, I'm with Dylan. Top 3.
Okay, how about number 3?
Hey, alright.
For now, we'll put it there for now. That's fine.
All right, next up, the
Mm,
Duel of the
mhm.
Fates. So
Oof.
Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon versus Darth Maul.
The best lightsaber battle
Mm,
in all of Star Wars, as far as I'm concerned. I almost
agreed.
put Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader at the end, but that's not a movie, actually. And I just love this one better. This made the entire movie for me, and it had to, because of the rest of the movie. I mean, I thought, dude, when this one came out, come on, like, you guys remember that? Like, we had just seen the original trilogy, and I was looking forward to seeing some Jedis once again. We got nothing for
Mm,
so many years, and I wanted to see them bring it back. And at the very least, that's exactly what we got. That just with this one fight, the music, and not only that, like I mean, like, one of the Jedi loses and the other one wins, and the Darth Maul gets cut in half, not killed, not killed. He's still alive. That's
yeah,
fine.
he's alright.
He's all right.
He's good.
Slightly
He's out there
insane,
living
but
in
that's
the
okay.
solo that's never gonna happen.
Like, unbelievable choreography. Ray Park is phenomenal, and
Yeah, he
in
really
this
is.
he really got to shine. I mean, this was a big deal when this came out, and I thought it was great. I love Duel of Fates. I think that is one of my favorite pieces of music.
Yeah, music is phenomenal. Brody, I'm curious, where was this on your list?
This is number 1.
Okay.
So this is the whole movie feels like it's building towards this, right? We see
Yeah.
Maul, we see him kind of do some stuff earlier on in the movie, and then all of a sudden we just get this set piece, and we have, you know, even coming off of the older movies with the lightsaber fights to then have this happen, and it's just like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
I have never seen anything like this. And the fight
Yeah.
is not completely one-sided. You've got 2 versus 1, but Maul is holding his own. You've got drama with, Qui-Gon getting killed. You've got like the
Yeah.
the tension of the rotating laser doors. Like,
Mhm.
this is so good. This was like easily my number 1.
Man,
I could see it.
this is my number 1 as well. And I'm glad you didn't put the Obi-Wan Vader fight, because if you thought my ranting about the Avengers was bad, he freaking beats Vader again and lets him live again. He goes off and destroys a freaking planet. Obi-Wan beats him twice. Before what a useless Jedi. He defeats Vader twice. He could prevent
Oh,
so much death. He is the most useless character in the Star Wars universe.
he thought he was dead. He was
I know
buried
you
under rocks.
And he's probably dead. Oh, no, I'll walk away. Oh my gosh, Obi-Wan. You freaking left him on lava. You didn't learn your lesson? He didn't learn that lesson the first time? He's like, oh, he's sinking into the lava. He's probably dead. He came back to life. Oh, he's under some rocks. Oh, that did it. I mean, come on, Obi-Wan.
He
Make yourself
sliced open his
useful.
helmet. I could understand why he would thought he was going to die. I
Oh my
also
gosh.
really love
If
that
I
fight.
if I beat it's a great lightsaber battle, but the end just made me so frustrated. I thought for sure that would have been like some kind of draw or Darth Vader escapes, but no, it's like a clear, decisive victory. And then he's like, all right, off we go. Pip pip cheerio, everything's fine. And
I was just kidding. I don't need to kill you. Go ahead, go on your way. It's not like you're gonna do anything horrible.
so
All
many
right.
chances to save the galaxy.
Next up,
Oh,
we
anyway,
have
but yeah,
Ripley
come on.
versus the Alien Queen from Aliens. Oh, this is so good. Oh, this is so good.
This is such a great list because Brody loves sci-fi so much and Dylan loves martial arts so much, and it just puts you guys at like this direct you guys are having your own mini boss battle within this list of boss battles. It's fantastic. All
Hey,
right, Dylan, tell Brody why this is your number 10.
Oh,
no,
it
I
better not
no,
be.
no, no, no. This would
Better
not be
not
my
be.
number 10. Although one could say that there's not a whole lot of fight to it. I mean, she comes in with her killer line and she kind of punches it a little bit to the side and then it kind of snaps at her. But luckily she's got, she's still in case it doesn't get her. And then they both kind of fall off of the ship and they go through once again, get sucked right out. And, she hangs on somehow. She's stronger than the alien queen. It's just fine though, because somehow she survives.
Did you say it's
Not
just fine?
not as one-sided as Gozer versus the Ghostbusters, but it is close.
All right, Charlie. What do you have to say?
Like you're making that face. You guys both get this look in your eyes where you feel like I'm about to say something like I'm about to insult a family member over here. Like this is a bottom 5 for me, and I love the movie, and it's a fantastic movie, and this is no judgment on the movie. This is an incredible list full of incredibly hyped moments. It's just like if you're just clipping down these to like 30 seconds, this might have some of the best like 15 to 30 seconds on this list. But like, come on, man, you're putting this up against some like epically long battles of like back and forth. It's got one of the least uh of all the villains on this list, maybe the least personality. It's just like it's a creature. I mean, it doesn't like there's not like a it could be any they could have swapped aliens in the middle of the movie. You wouldn't know. It could be a different alien queen for all you know. I don't know. It's not like you want this too. I mean, where do you want this, bro? Where is this for you?
On my personal list, this is number 2. This is the most hype, one of the most hype moments in all of movies is the Queen being there and Ripley walking out with this thing and saying that line. Like the way this is shot, oh gosh, it gets you every time. It gets you so pumped up for this fight. And the alien is coming at her, and she's using these mechanical pincher hands to grab it and squeeze it, and it's still trying to get through. Oh,
Does she
and
squeeze it, bro? Does she really squeeze it?
yeah, yeah, she does. She's got
So
to
like,
hold it
and
somehow.
so like that metal didn't squeeze the alien hard enough.
Well,
Ripley gave it a break or something.
well, I mean, you can't like squeeze it to death because there's acid, and she knows that. She's a smart lady, but she can hold the alien with it, and it goes, "Rrr," and it squeezes and holds the alien.
So it seems like what you're saying is the extent of this fight was Ripley giving the alien a metallic hug.
No, because she also hit it and it got out and they battled. And honestly, if this was one shot from far away, it would look horrible, right? Because it would be super clunky because you've got a big alien queen and Ripley in a big mechanical suit. But the way this is shot is that it's cool to watch and you're excited and you're hyped. I was so hyped. I still get hyped for this. Get hyped. Stay hyped. It's awesome. This is my number 2, but I understand that that is just my personal list, and we're doing the talk punch list. So I'm willing to compromise because Tudong compromised on Way of the Dragon. So
Pudong
I I
compromised on
I don't
almost all of his choices here, except probably like Rocky and Ivan
I
Drago.
don't think it's not going to end up on 2 on the group list. That's fine.
Now,
That's
tell me,
okay.
I mean, like, see, the actual fight though, it's not like a lot. Like, I
Oh, it's
agree. I
cool.
think the
No, it's
direction was
cool.
excellent.
It's cool. It's cool to watch.
It's cool to watch the lead up, but then when they actually fight, they just kind of hug a bit.
No, she's hitting it. Oh man, come on. Come on,
All you just said was
Tudong.
hitting it and then come on, Tudong. That's all you
Come on.
actually. The extent of the fight scene that you say is she was hitting it, or at least she hit it, and come on, Tudong.
Yeah, come on.
That's the extent of the fight? Really?
Come on,
There's gotta be
Tudong.
more than that. Am I forgetting something?
Come
I
on.
must be. Come on, Brode.
Tudong, come
She
on.
I
hits
think
it.
I
Get
think for
away
me
from her, you beat. Come on. Come on.
more so than maybe more so than any other one on this list, this fight scene needs the rest of the movie for it to like really pay off. If that makes sense, like
I
if you just kind of watch
suppose.
this, if you just kind of watch this in isolation, look, and you could say that about a lot of these, but like that's it's an epic long boxing match. It's an epic fight of heroes versus Thanos. It's like all of these. There's like clear defined. Like you could watch them kind of like in a just in isolation. You've never seen like you did with Way of the Dragon. You pop it on and you just watch the scene, and you're like, that's weird that there's a cat there and things like that. We show this to our kids someday. They'll be like, wait, why is she in a mechanical suit? And like why does so lasers don't hurt her, but like swinging metal does. Like what's the queen is slower than a giant boxy suit. I know there's gonna be things that they complain about, but if you were there, if you watch the whole movie, it does lead to this moment
I
where
guess
like it's
that's
maybe
true.
better in the story than the fight.
What if we put it at number 5 and move the other things up?
Okay. So we're moving Scott Pilgrim up to 2,
For now.
For Brody.
Thanos to 3, Rocky to 4, and then Aliens to 5. Okay. Okay.
I think it's fair.
I can do that. I can do that. All right.
But I think things are gonna switch around again. That's what I really
I
think
think we're
this.
gonna have some swapping going on. Yeah.
Yeah, because
So
this one is really good.
last up we have Neo versus Agent Smith from the original Matrix.
Hmm.
What do you think,
Oh man,
Tudor?
this is hard.
I could see this at actually number 2. The choreography is actually even better than in Scott Pilgrim's. I mean, this was a really good fight, and I remember, like with this movie especially. I remember when we watched this, and like when this entire like fight scene was like a scene. Like they were even talking to each other. All sorts of things. The fighting is excellent. Like he starts to slowly believe in himself more and more, even at the end when he's just like, "I'm out of here," and he runs away. I absolutely love this fight to pieces. Definitely top 5 for me.
Top
Do
5.
some- What about
Charlie?
you? Or Charlie? Yeah, what about you
Bro,
guys?
based on your reaction, did you have this at like 7 or something, bro? Where'd you have this?
That's actually exactly where I had it. Was number
All
7.
right.
Bro, you hate martial arts
Uh,
is really what happened.
I don't hate martial arts.
you
You
you do you
hate
do hate
martial
martial arts.
arts.
It's okay though.
I
Like
don't. I
I
don't.
enjoy the big boss battles as long as there's not a lot of actual battle.
No, this is a great fight. I rewatched this. This was one of the ones I rewatched because I was like, okay, I haven't seen Matrix in a while. I want to rewatch this one. And so I did rewatch it. It was good. Like number 7 good.
You hear how the voice goes up. Well, let's. I think we can all agree this isn't 10. So let's move Ghostbusters to 10. Thank you for
Yeah.
your service. Uh,
Okay.
and let's
I
just go one by one. Is this better than Predator?
Yes, come on, bro.
probably.
This is much
Yeah,
better than.
no, it's probably better than Predator.
Or Predator at number
I
9?
would say it's better than Way of the Dragon. So I would move all of these. Dylan.
wait, Charlie, hold on. Just Charlie, what exactly? Where would you have put this in your own personal list? Because I mean, like, I would have put it at 2. Brody would put it at 7. Where would you have put it? Like, what is this? Is this top 5 for you? Is this bottom 5?
This is probably a top 5 for me. But it's like a nice blend of like the martial arts and the sci-fi, which are two things that I feel like maybe as I am in these boxes in between you two and your love of various things. It's got nice choreography. It's got people punching through stone pillars. It's got people
Mm.
doing it like an in-air ballet with guns firing. I mean, it's got a lot. There's a lot of it's a visual feast. I mean, with any of these older movies, does it hold up to the wow that it was when it came out? Probably not. But man, when we saw this in the theaters, I was pretty hyped after. I think probably if I was going just on after theater hype, would be this would probably be my second. But to be fair, maybe I only saw 4 of these in the theater. Um, but like after watching Rocky 4, man, I wanted to box. Um, like I wanted to find some gloves and start punching. Uh, After this, like I wanted to do the the choreography. I wanted to do the battle. This was cool. I don't know. I maybe 5 or 6 for me is fine. I'd settle for as a compromise. Uh, um,
I did.
I
So
think
when
I probably would have this one above Way of the Dragon, but that's more preference than it is like quality. And I respect like if someone said, okay, you need to make a decision about the quality of martial arts, there's nobody I would call before I called Dylan and said, all right, make the decision for me because you know way more about this than I do. So if he says Way of the Dragon is better, then I'm good with that.
that's very non-committal of you,
I try. I try to say a lot without helping at all is the goal.
um no, this is it is a really good fight. When I was rewatching it, I had my sons here helping me watch it, and they watched this and they were getting excited, and I was like, "Oh, should I let them watch this because this is total spoilers?" But they were like, "Oh, when can we
Total
watch
spoilers.
Matrix?" And I was like,
You haven't
"Ah, I
shown
don't
your kids
know."
The Matrix yet? I've shown Amelie The Matrix already. She's seen all 3 Matrix.
Still never seen Despicable Me though, huh?
Never heard of it. It's bad for kids.
That's not for kids, bro. Come on now. It's
Oh,
got the word
okay.
despicable in it.
Okay, so do we put Matrix, Dylan, Matrix above or below Way of the Dragon? It's more exciting than Way of the Dragon. I would put it above Way of the Dragon, but
Then put it above Way of the Dragon,
Oh,
bro.
you're
oh, I
hurting.
feel so bad now. I feel so bad. This is like
I
Dylan's
can't
number
believe that
one.
Way of the Dragon and The Matrix are below Aliens still. I can't. Their 2-second fight in the mech suit.
I
2-second fight. And these 2 fights come after?
I'm kind of with Dylan on this one. I'd move the mech suit down, but
would you? You
I
guys
hate
would
seeing
both.
my
You
two
guys
dads
would.
fight.
You guys would. Okay, so I love Aliens because it's a hype moment for me. If you guys say that the actual fight you don't feel it's as good as Way of the Dragon or Matrix, we can move it down to
I
what,
don't quite
7?
think that would be fair. Just go ahead and put The Matrix at number 6 and put Way of the Dragon at number 7.
Yeah, Matrix at 5, Aliens at 6, and let's make sure that no one is happy when we end this. I want everyone upset. I want everyone watching upset. I want everyone on this podcast upset. We're all going home mad.
No,
Should have
I don't want
gotten
everybody
worse fights. I
mad.
should have gotten a couple of worse ones because I mean,
Yeah, you got to put a couple clunkers on there next time,
really
D.
do. I should
Yeah,
have put a
yeah.
couple.
You give us this amazing list of fights.
These are
Okay,
like razor thin margins here,
That's
man.
true. It's
they are.
really true.
They are. Okay, how do we feel about this list?
Yeah.
Is there anything that you feel strongly about that you would like changed?
This is fine for me, and if you guys want to move something, I'm good with it. So
Okay. No, I'm fine with this. We can call this. All right. So that is our list of top 10 boss battles. So I'll go ahead and name them off for our audio listeners. So at number 10, we have Ghostbusters versus Gozer. At number 9, we have Dutch versus the Predator. At number 8, we have the T800 and Sarah Connor versus the T1000. At number
And Sarah
7, huh? What?
You made me laugh with your and Sarah Connor. Sorry,
Oh.
go on. Continue.
At number 7, we have Bruce Lee versus Chuck Norris in Way of the Dragon and the Cat. At number 6, we've got Ripley versus the Alien Queen. At number 5, we have Neo versus Agent Smith from the original Matrix. At number 4, we have Rocky versus Ivan Drago from Rocky 4. At number 3, we have the Avengers versus Thanos. Actually, Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy versus Thanos in Infinity War. At number 2, we have Scott Pilgrim versus Gideon from Scott Pilgrim versus the World. And number
Thought of my
1,
Sarah fight would have been number 2.
at number 1, we have Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn versus Darth Maul in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
At least we all agreed on one. Number one. I
We
think
did,
so. At
actually.
least all our
Yeah.
arguments were down the list. So
No, that's very good. All the middle stuff, interchangeable.
interchangeable.
We agreed on number 1. We agreed on number 10. Everything else in the middle can just be shifted around for you.
I mean, it's fair. I mean, the sci-fi, the T1000 versus the T800. I mean, that's a number 8. So I mean, we all gave and took and all that. It makes sense.
Patreon exclusive, or maybe for a shorts, we can all do our own personal top 10 out of this.
Yeah.
So we can
Nice.
we can
There
set
you
the
go.
record straight for our personal views.
That would be interesting. Yeah, maybe we'll have to do that. So,
And
all
Brody can ask
right.
Chat GPT. All right. Well, thank you. You have endured the boss battle of Dylan and his love of martial arts with Brody and his love of alien sci-fi. I apologized for all those harsh words spoken back and forth, those passive-aggressive eye glances, the sad puppy dog looks as movies were shifted lower and ever lower. But that's all part of the fun here when we do these lists. Let us know what your number 1 would be. We love hearing from you guys. And if you don't want to do all 10, just give us one. Give us one.
Yeah.
Maybe recommend some for the next time we do a big boss battle. What are some of your favorite big boss fights out there? And throw Dylan some bad ones to put on the next list. Maybe like some slap fights or something.
Yes, please.
And we'll see you next time. Like and subscribe.
Check out our Patreon.